have different array methods. So depending on the type of the data or the input what we give, we can call the type of array or we can use the keywords. Dynamic data, if we have a dynamic data list, then we can utilize a list format directly. What are the different scopes, like under which conditions I can utilize this is I can either define the variables locally, yes, it's valid. Hello everyone, I welcome you all to the second session of first unit, third sem, that's under BCA. Over here my name is Deepa Kutnikar. I am working as an assistant professor under Department of Computer Science, Vidhyaashram, Temple of Excellence, Mysuru. This is a C# and .NET subject. So this is one of the subjects in your third sem BCA degree. So this is according to the SCP syllabus, the new syllabus which has been updated by the MYSURU University. So along with this, we have one more video, that's session 1 with respect to the same subject, that's C# and .NET. I request you to please watch that video before going with the second session. So let's see like what are the things we have discussed in our previous session. Over here is the recap of the things what we have discussed in our session 1. Okay, so that's we did discuss what is object oriented programming and what are the different classes, objects, introduction to C#, what is C# and why it is called as object oriented programming language. Then we did also discuss about the origins of .NET, like how the .NET framework is formed. We did discuss the major libraries which are used in C# and how the evolution of .NET. So yes, .NET is evolved by Microsoft, how the evolution happened, and we also did discuss the structure of a C# program. Okay, so all these were discussed in our first session. So in today's session, let's see what's the agenda. So these are the agenda of our today's session. So in today's session, we'll be discussing how to compile and execute a C# program. What are arguments, what are different command line arguments which are included inside the program. Then we do also discuss what are the different kinds of array and what are the different variables included in the arrays. What are the different applications of C#, array, array list, what are the different classes, what are the different math functions, the literals, what is known as boxing or unboxing under the C#. So yes, absolutely we'll be learning about this. Okay, so let's move forward and let's get started. So over here, how to compile and execute a program what is written in a C#. So in order to do that, we have to go with CSC program. So we have to save the program with .C# extension, which is nothing but .cs. Alright. So now after compiling, what we have to do, we have to execute our program, correct? So in order to execute that, we have to use the program name followed by .exe. So we have to write this in our terminal window, only then we will be getting the executed output. That's the thing which is included in compilation and execution. The prompt or the platform what we use in order to see or execute our program is a terminal window. So on the Visual Studio you will be having a terminal window, and on that terminal window you have to enter like your program name followed by .cs extension for the compilation, and for execution in the same way you have to write your program name followed by .exe so that you can see your output there. So this is under compilation and execution. Let's move forward. Over here, the command line arguments. So yes, this is a command line that specifies string argument inside the main function. So this now, okay, we'll be using argument. So now what we have to check or verify is the length of the argument. Keyword for that is arguments.length. So this has to be verified in order to avoid the errors. Up here we can see the example for this. So we are specifying the argument inside a for loop. So for int it starts from I equals 0 and it should be less than the argument's length, and what is that? It's a format I incremented. So now we will be using this statement known as console.writeLine, which specifies like, yes, this is my statement. Okay, so now what it has to specify? It has to specify argument of I, so followed by the argument in the flower braces. So this is a syntax in order to specify the command line argument. Up next, let's see the arrays in the C#. So yes, arrays in C#, arrays are called as contiguous collection of same data types. Now we did understand like what is array. It is a contiguous collection of same data type. Okay. Now we have to learn like how to initialize it, how to declare that. Okay. So now how to declare our array is in this form. So we'll be specifying int followed by numbers. Alright. So now initializing. So we'll be initializing it as int followed by numbers with specifying a new int number. Okay. So this can be either 1, 2, 3 or anything according to our requirement. Now let's see an example where we are considering the direct values, that's exam values. So for that we are specifying int of marks. So you can see here the marks are being defined like 80, 90, 70, etc. So this is how we can specify or define the direct values. Now we did understand like how to declare, how to initialize the arrays. Now in case if we want a single element from that array, now let's see how to access that single element from that complete set of array. So for that we have to go with marks of 2. So what is the second element over here in this example? It's 90. So I want that second marks element. So now what I have to specify in order to access that? So I have to write a statement like console write line and marks of 0. So what is the marks of 0 now? It's done. We got this marks. So this is a format to access the value or the element from the array. Now we have one more example like we can directly write in a console statement like yes, I need that element, like we have considered the 0th element over here. So in this way, this is just an example. You can write a statements in order to access the elements whichever required for us. Up next, let's see the variables. So yes, variable size in arrays. So the option 1, so we can define the arrays in two different ways. The first one, we can use or we can define user defined size at runtime has in size equals convert to integer, that's a console read line of specified, like this is a function we are specifying. Under this function we will be writing some statements. So yes, finally we are calling here, this is like in size, so it has to convert the values what are stored in that statement to which? Into the integer of 32 bits. Okay. So that's a first case. And moving with the second case, we have like dynamic data. If we have a dynamic data list, then we can utilize a list format directly. So this is how we can specify different kinds of arrays by using the variable sizes. So if my variable size is manageable or finite or okay, if it's small, I can directly go with the first option. If my array is of more entries, then I can go directly with the second option. So this is how the variables can be defined under the C#. Now let's move forward and understand what are the different array and array list as well as how the classes are correlated with the C#. So over here, array and array list, we have different array methods. So depending on the type of the data or the input what we give, we can call the type of array or we can use the keywords. For example, if I have a length or if I want to go with a finite line, then I can go with the length, and if I want to sort the array, I can go with this keyword, and if I want to reverse my input or the data, then I can use this keyword. And if I want to change my values from 0 to say 2, it has to be indexed. So this index of keyword can be utilized. Now let's see if we have a larger collections or an array list. If the number of list is more, then how to go with this. Over here, array list. For array list, we'll be using system.collection. So this is a type, and over here we can say like it can store elements of any type. So absolutely it is a list. It can be considering data of multiple types, correct? Over here it's the same thing, and the different methods we can utilize over here is either adding or removing, inserting, sorting. So these are the few methods which we can do with respect to our data. So next, it is of less type safe, okay, and the performance overhead is more because of boxing and unboxing technique. So boxing and unboxing, what is this? So don't get confused, we will be learning about this in our next slides. So this is how we will be working with the array list. Now let's see what are the different math functions we have. If we hear math function, yes, basically what we get in our minds, that complete addition, division, multiplication, subtraction and all the stuff. Yes, absolutely it is included. But apart from that, what are the things we have? So we have absolute value. We can work with absolute values, we can work with the square roots, we can work with the powers, and we can round off the values like if we have any fractional values 1.21, then we can round off this value to 1. So in this way we have multiple mathematical operations like math.floor. So yes, this is used to floor our input values. The math.ceiling, it is used to seal the complete pack of input. So in this way, if you want to check the maximum data out of the inputs, then we have this keyword that's math.maximum of the input values. And similarly, if you want to use the minimum value, so we can go with math.min of a comma b. Up next, definitely we can use the trigonometric functions like math.sin, math.cos and all the stuff. Absolutely, even we can work with the constant values. So we can work or define the mathematical values like the pi value as well as the exponential values and all. So these are the few examples, like apart from the basic numerical operations, what we can do with the math function. So these are the different keywords which we can utilize. Now let's see what are the different literals we have defined under the C#. So yes, literals in C#. So we have, or we can define integer values. So yes, absolutely we know integer values. So it can be a whole number or a negative number, okay. Now the floating values, it means the decimal values. Yes, also we can use that, and also the characters, all the alphanumeric values we can go with it. Strings, that's words, we can go with it, and the boolean functions like true, false, yes, even we can work with it. And there will be some special characters or the special values like null, yes, definitely even it's supported. And there is some special string like where we'll be using special characters, which we can call it as verbatim strings. We can even use those under our literals. Moving forward, let's understand the different variables that we use in the C#. The declaration. So what is a variable? I believe we know that, like it is a container which will store the value, okay. So now how to declare that variable? So yes, we can declare using a data type, like if you are working on a integer data type, we can define it as a int a, and if we can give any string name, so according to our requirement we can define that. Up next, initialization. So how to initialize that? We can directly initialize it as int a equals some values, okay. If in case we want to start or work with the constant values, we can go with using double keyword, constant double pi. We want to work, or I have to work with a constant pi, so I can initialize, or sorry, I can declare it in this way, like const double pi of what's the value that I can directly assign it. What are the different scopes, like under which conditions I can utilize this is, I can either define the variables locally, yes, it's valid. I can define the variables for instance, yes, even it is valid. And if I want to define it for static data types, yes, absolutely we can do that. Now we did understood what are variables, classes and array list, how to initialize that, how to use that or how to access that. All these things are done. And in last slide we had prescribed boxing and unboxing, right? So now let's see what is boxing and unboxing. It is a type of conversion, okay? Nothing is there. It's just a type of conversion which is defined, okay? If I want to convert a value type with a object, then I will call it as a boxing, okay? And we can say here we are defining the value, that's the object is being defined. So now it's unboxing. So unboxing is nothing but conversion of object to the value type is called as unboxing. So sometimes we need boxing where we need a conversion from a different value types to the object, because C# is an object oriented language, correct? Absolutely, there we need a terms in the object. So we are defining this boxing values. So at the input end, if we do the boxing, and exactly at the output end we have to do that unboxing to retrieve my exact value, right? That's what we'll be doing. Why we'll be doing this boxing unboxing? Because we know C# is a object oriented programming language. So there's a requirement like we have to work with objects. So for that sake, objects, but some data or the input will not be in the form of object, it will be in the form of a data values. So at that time we can convert the data value types to the objects by using unboxing. Similarly, we can convert back the object to the data value type, which is known as unboxing. So the example for unboxing, like we'll be defining or declaring it in this way: int b equals int of object. So this is boxing and unboxing. Is this difficult? No, right? It's very simple. This was with respect to today's session. So we are done with our second session. So we have one more session under this first unit of third sem, C# and .NET technologies. Now let's see what are the things which is left and which will be learning in the upcoming session. These are the things what we'll be learning or understanding in the upcoming session, that's in the session 3. So we'll be learning what are operators, what are the different expressions that we use in C#, and we'll be also learning the decision making statements and looping statements, methods, what are the different methods used in C#, how to handle the string building and the interpolations. So these are the things what we discuss in our next session. Alright, so these are the things you learn in the upcoming session. Till then, thank you.